Over the next few weeks, I thought I'd share with you some of the research that I've been doing regarding political demons, specifically those being deployed by NAR member Lance Wallnau. I've previously spoken about Wallnau in a few separate videos, and while he might not be a household name, he's perhaps one of the most influential members of evangelical Christianity today. As the genesis point of the Seven Mountain Mandate that is spread throughout the world and the Cyrus-Trump analog that may have won Trump the 2016 election, Wallnau has been called by Matthew D. Taylor, quote, the most important evangelical political theologian of the 21st century so far, end quote. I've already spoken to one extent or another about the Seven Mountain Mandate here, so I won't belabor the point excessively. However, with all the discussion about its political implications in the news, which are very real and very frightening, sometimes we can lose track of the point that it is ultimately a framework for understanding the impact of demons on the country and the world. This is very apparent in Wallnau's writings. Wallnau's original contribution to the Seven Mountain Mandate idea, entitled A Prophetic, Biblical, and Personal Call to the Marketplace, was privately published and distributed, but a few quotations remain in other NAR members' works. For instance, in his book The Church in the Workplace, C. Peter Wagner quotes Wallnau as saying, quote, Satan is well aware that a single Mao or Stalin or Hitler is a greater agent in his quest for global domination and destruction than 1,000 Anton LaVeys. While we may not be able to look inside the text now, this single quotation speaks volumes. Moreover, it seems to speak in the same voice as Wallnau's later work on the subject in Invading Babylon. In this work, Wallnau claims that the, quote, high places, the spheres of influence where kings position themselves, are the specific target and habitation of darkness. In fact, the Apostle Paul revealed to the Ephesians that much of their wrestling was not with rulers made of flesh and blood, but rather against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places, end quote. On the final page before the next contributor, a large print bookplate-style text reads, cultural transformation can only come about by strategic prayer and spiritual warfare. Once more, the demonic and spiritual warfare contexts are clear in Wallnau's work. Wallnau commandeers this established structure to articulate his idea of the Isaiah 45 anointing, which formed the basis of his work God's Chaos Candidate in 2016. The idea here is that Isaiah 45 references the anointing of Cyrus the Great, the Persian military leader who freed the Judean people from captivity in Babylon, and Trump would go on to become the 45th president of the United States. Based upon this parallelism, Wallnau suggests Trump has been anointed by God to restore the United States to its former glory so that it may fulfill its calling. This calling is understood to be guided by Seven Mountain ideology. Wallnau claims that the Great Commission, the call to evangelize all nations and peoples in Matthew 28, is no longer a geographic call to, quote, go and make disciples of all nations, end quote, but instead a call to, quote, go into all the systems of this world, the seven mountains or the seven mind molders of culture. We must become a 7M, trademark, movement. Likewise, Satan is, quote, well aware of America's unique assignment to globally advance the discipleship of nations, end quote, and is taking steps to counteract the U.S.'s influence. It is this demonic corruption which at present, quote, rules the seven mountains of nations. This action of tying Trump to the Seven Mountain Mandate and to Wallnau's prophetic authority was risky, as indiscretion after offensive quotation after prior relationship first rocked the candidate's campaign and then the president's administration. I theorize that Wallnau felt consciously or unconsciously threatened by the prospect that his audience would begin to see Trump as less God's anointed and instead just a bad decision. This would collapse the minor empire that Wallnau had built around the concept. Yet if demons were constantly at war against the faithful in the 7M system, then it stood to reason that a demon might also be at work in these PR problems. To address these issues, Wallnau picked up an old spirit that he had dealt with before, Leviathan.